Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime, the podcast where we discuss cybercrimes and cybersecurity news. This week, we will be talking about the first ever cyber attack, I'm pretty sure, not only assisted by AI, but fully executed by an AI agent. Well, almost fully executed, we'll get to that. Usually, when AI assists in cyber attacks, it's usually in generating malicious code, maybe crafting some phishing emails. The human hackers still play an important and very major role in compromising an environment, deploying that malicious code, sending the phishing emails, things like that. Attackers were able to manipulate Anthropic's Claude Code, which is an AI coding tool, to attempt to compromise around 30 different organizations, from financial institutions to chemical companies to government agencies. Not all of these attacks succeeded, but Anthropic did say that hackers turned Claude into some kind of autonomous cyber attack agent to support not just one, but many different stages of a cyber attack. Claude gathered information to support the attack beforehand about the organizations, discovered vulnerabilities, exploited those vulnerabilities, and was even able to move laterally within the systems, steal and use credentials, and steal and exfiltrate data. The attackers leveraged the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. MCP basically allows AI agents to connect to and interact with different data sources and tools to inform its responses. If your organization uses AI, it may be connected to a lot of company resources, so it can give you an informed response based on the specific question you ask it. And that is all thanks to MCP. MCP also allows AI to gather data from the internet and summarize it for you. Claude Code itself acted like an attacker in this scenario, breaking down this big campaign into smaller technical tasks that can be offloaded to sub-agents of the AI model. Basically, multiple instances of Claude Code were working as penetration testing team members, and it was able to perform about 80% of the steps in this campaign completely autonomously. The actual people that were involved mostly just initiated the campaign itself and had to manually approve some steps that the AI was taking, mostly using credentials that the agent managed to find. People did also strategize a bit and made some of the final decisions. The extent at which Claude Code was used was kind of terrifying, but also really fascinating to me. Like I said, it started out with reconnaissance work, mapping out different attack surfaces. Then it not only discovered vulnerabilities within the organizations, but also validated them and generated malicious payloads that would exploit the vulnerabilities. Like I said, there were some manual approvals from humans that had to be made, sure. But after those approvals were out of the way, Claude was able to exploit those vulnerabilities, gain a foothold in the target environment, query databases autonomously to discover more data, figure out what of that data was proprietary and useful, steal credentials, and exfiltrate that aforementioned data out of the environment. In this case, using Claude as basically a free hacker worked pretty well, but there can be some roadblocks in using this method for other attackers who may attempt this in the future. LLMs tend to hallucinate, which is AI speak for just kinda make stuff up. So there is a good chance it could make up some fake vulnerabilities, exploits that don't quite work, could even make up credentials or fake proprietary data, which would actually be hilarious if someone attempted to leak fake AI-generated data, claiming it was from a certain company. Someone sort of did that, but they made the data up on purpose. They didn't think they were finding actual data. This was fraud from the start. We're talking hackers who are trying to hack someone, and then Claude just gives them fake data. That would be really interesting. In the aftermath of these attacks and attempted attacks, Anthropic banned the account the hackers were using and made some updates to the model to hopefully prevent something like this from happening in the future. However, this actually demonstrates a really common dynamic within the cybersecurity space. As technology evolves, it's a bit of a cat-and-mouse game between attackers and defenders trying to get ahead of each other. Often the defenders must play whack-a-mole trying to fix things before attackers take advantage of them. And attackers are trying to get ahead and exploit vulnerabilities before defenders can patch them. As much as AI companies like Anthropic or OpenAI try to keep patching and adding more preventative controls, this problem isn't exactly going to go away, and that's not necessarily their fault, as this happens with virtually every technology. This one is just especially accessible and makes launching attacks that much easier. So it's a bigger deal when you can find a zero-day exploit or manage to jailbreak an AI agent. Realistically, this should be a message to focus on cyber defense rather than try to wrangle AI tools. Because AI tools will make the discovery of any minor vulnerability or any misconfiguration that much easier to pinpoint and target. You can't do much to contain the use of AI at the moment. You can't even really legislate something like this away with laws. Criminal hackers notoriously don't really care about laws to begin with, after all. This is just how the world looks now and for the foreseeable future, so it just has to be taken into account and planned for in your cybersecurity planning. Thank you to Anthropic for putting out the initial article on this espionage case, as well as the Hacker News, Fortune, ARS Technica, Cybersecurity Dive, and InfoSecurity Magazine for explaining a lot of the concepts and reporting on the news case. And of course, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Bite Size Cybercrime, and until next time, stay secure.